So today's topic is about being lonely. Most people think of loneliness as a disadvantage. We look for friends, we look for girlfriends, boyfriends, we look for husbands, we look for wives. For most people, being alone, being lonely is a very negative thing. However, there are some benefits, there are some advantages that you can get from being lonely. One of the benefits are or is time for reflection. When we have a partner, we are very busy going out with them, we are very busy doing things with them. So we do not have a lot of time for ourselves. We don't listen to ourselves, we don't attend our emotions or our necessities. So for some people, spending time alone is the perfect time for reflection. Fran, helping other people, spending time with your partner is very important. But why is it just as important to spend time alone to help yourself, to work on yourself?
Well, in fact, when you are alone, you don't need to think about the necessities of the other of your partner, and you can do whatever you want, and and, and obviously it's better for you because you don't need to reach a deal about, for example, travel to anywhere or buy something because you can do whatever.
People believe that working with your partner is a big mistake because you do not have that important and necessary time alone to be able to do your own thing. What's your opinion regarding this? Is it okay to work and live with your partner, or should there be some space and distance for you to have your own time?
I think that depends of the couple because, uh, for example, I have some friends that are partners and they were working together, and for them the relation at work and in their personal life it was nice without any problem. But there are also other couples that when they spend too much hours together, this provokes some bad situations because they don't have any free time for themselves because they are always together at work and in their house. Um, and for that reason, I think it's depend of each one because there is also important the personality of each one because there are some people that need to have their own space and their own free time. And if they spend a lot of hours with someone, they can feel a little stressed. And, and on the other hand, there are other people that enjoy spending time with their family. So it's depends. I think it's a bad idea to generalize, and, and that's it.
That's very interesting. Next, we have more freedom. So when we are surrounded by other people, we are obviously being watched. People are judging our behavior. So, this by itself tends to restrict us. We feel restricted because we are always adapting our behavior and how we act. So being alone can allow us, can permit us to be able to act as we want to act. Yes. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. However, we can act naturally instead of having to always be aware of what other people are thinking. Javier, why is it important to always act naturally around your partner? Some people believe they should put on an act to make sure that they are always behaving their best. This is possible temporarily. However, long term, it's difficult. Why should people always act themselves and act how they really are?
In my opinion, make the thing that with natural action that you think is the better, because if you are knowing a couple, the first viewing that she or he viewing in you is the first view. Um, why it's important? Because if you make things or say another thing that you don't um, think, in fact, after 1 month, or in the worst case, after years, the person know that you are um, lie, mentira, no? It's a lie, because in the beginning of the relationship, you made other things, and thought with other ideas, but in fact, or in reality, you are other person, for the reason, like you mention, each month, um, several no there are a high percentage of um, couples that seeks the divorce for the reason, in my opinion.
Correct. Of course, it's important to act with manners, act caring, yes, but you shouldn't be someone who you're not. Of course not. Fran, being more productive. So there are many tests and studies, and apparently, people perform better alone when faced with tasks that require, a lot of attention. So when a task requires a lot of attention, it's actually more productive for someone to work on that task alone, because if there are too many people working on a certain task, it can take longer to complete because of many reasons. Yes, there are conflicts. There are some members of the team who do not agree in the way you're doing things. So you have to adapt, you have to debate, you have to come to some type of conclusion. So in fact, working alone can increase your productivity and increase your personal performance. Would you agree with these tests and studies, or do you think working in a team is actually a lot better?
I agree regarding the fact that when you are working alone, you don't need to speak with others to try to do the best solution. However, in my opinion, this is only possible in in, in really specific and small tasks. Because if you are in a big company or doing a big project, it's impossible to do everything alone. And for that reason, you will have to work with other people. And I think it's really important to know how to know how work with other people, because there are some people that they are very good in their job, but they don't know how to communicate with other one, or how to share their ideas and try to find a better solution between many people. And for that reason, I think it's an important skill. Know how to do it.
Okay, well, I agree. That's brilliant. And finally, Javier, disconnecting. A time of separation or disconnecting from your routine can help us to prevent, or can prevent us from being oversaturated with the society we live in. There are quite a few people who do not disconnect. They work full time, they work on Saturdays, sometimes even Sundays. When they go on holiday, they answer emails, they continuously speak to people on the phone. So they don't disconnect. They cannot disconnect. What are the consequences for people that cannot disconnect? How can this affect your health mentally and physically?
Okay, for this topic, I have a good example in my person. For example, once months ago, I had a lot of work in my company, and I couldn't disconnect all time that I wanted. And for this reason, or better thus, I had hypertension for that, and I had to change the mentality and take the time for the last and disconnect it for my job, and for that I guess low the hypertension, and right now I am better than 1 month ago. It's true that there are persons that can't take a time for them because their job could not allow it. But in my opinion, in my real example, I think that each day you have to take a wait and take a time for you, for that disconnect from all, and get a good health,
Okay.
both mentally um, and the body, no?
And physically.
Physically. Mhm.
There is a proposal to have a 4-day working week, which means we will have 3 days rest per week. Are you for or against this?
This idea depends on the company. For example, there are companies that could not permit or could not allow take one more day at week with or without work, because, for example, in my case, the job are during 5 days a week. In my case, I will not or I can't only work 4 days per week. It's true that there are several companies, overall a big company that have a lot of employees, and for the reason they can it can separate or think that or make groups of employees that, for example, 50% of the company works since Monday to Thursday, and the other 50% working since Tuesday to Friday. But in a little company, in my opinion, is very difficult to make it.
Thank you very much.